this is a panel discussion that I've been looking forward to through the entire day because it concerns a topic that every Bangalorean is going to resonate with, and that's food. Now, whether you want piping hot idlis for breakfast at 6 in the morning or you want to end your day with steaming hot biryani at 1 a.m. Now, there's a fare of every cuisine available for you in the city, and Bangalore is home to them all. Now, the next decade, however, is going to throw in a few googlies, or so to speak. It's going to compel the city and the global F&B industry to innovate and keep in consideration the sustainability demands. Now, they need to be innovative, they need to be experimental, but they also have these demands of minimizing waste and energy use, and this is pushing the finest minds in the industry to find innovative solutions and also keep in perspective the cost, because at the end of the day, the consumer also matters. Now, to talk to us about shaping the future of dining in Bengaluru, I am thrilled to call our panelists on stage. Our first panelist is a champion of ethnic cuisine, and his restaurants here in Bengaluru and in Chennai are a tribute to his mother's cooking and the food that he personally enjoyed in his childhood. Now, the restaurant, Kappa, Chakka, Kandhari, which I'm sure a lot of us have visited, has recreated those food memories without compromising on their unique tastes while appealing to us and the next generation of food connoisseurs. Now, he was ranked #1 in the Food Superstars 2023. That's the annual list of India's top 30 chefs by Culinary Culture that was co-founded by food critic Veer Sanghvi. Please join me in welcoming on stage Chef Regi Mathew. Chef. Thank you, Chef. Now, our next panelist started his career with the Taj Group of Hotels, and he went on to work on a cruise liner and set up the Michelin Guide-listed restaurant Nadodi in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Now, today, he showcases his dramatic food philosophy based on local world principles and molecular gastronomy at Farmlore, which he co-founded in Bengaluru. Ladies and gentlemen, Chef Johnson Ebeneze. Chef. Thank you, Chef. Now, I started talking about this restaurant when we started off this Bangalore. Now, his family legacy is synonymous with the food culture. But he started off as an engineer, and he later joined his father, Ramakrishna Adiga, in 2005 to help him run the iconic restaurant Vidyarthi Bhavan. And since then, they've been continuing the remarkable culinary legacy that spans decades. Please welcome on stage Arun Kumar Adiga. Arun? You've read what she's written, you've heard what she says. Our host for this session is food writer and podcaster based right here in Bengaluru. She's the author of 4 food-based books, and she's currently with the Communications and Outreach Department at LVBL. That's a neighborhood improvement company focused on sustainable life choices. Please join me in welcoming on stage Ranjini Rao. I'd also like to say a quick thank you to Mr. C.K. Baba, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Southeast Zone for Bengaluru City, for joining us here today and reaffirming our initiative as we all come together for Bengaluru 2040. Ranjini, over to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you one and all for being here. I guess we're setting the stage to help you work up an appetite before we hand over the stage to the cinema folks, and followed by dinner, obviously. So I just want to begin by saying hello to all of you. We've met, we've chatted before, and hopefully our camaraderie will flow into this discussion, which we hope to keep very informal and participatory as well. So I want to begin this discussion really by stating the obvious, so to speak. We all come from different cultural and culinary backgrounds. And the work each of us does is also rooted somewhere in that background that we carry, and also an adoption of what is currently hot, or what's trending, or what is the preferred choice of foodies, right? And So what is your take? I want to begin with you, Chef Regi. How do you look at this from a perspective of what's constant and what's changing?
If you look at the changing trend, it's like, people are coming up with new ideas, new thought process, where they try to bring in the old systems and traditions, marriage with the new techniques, and coming with a unique concept. That is something which is coming as a trend which I feel. And what is still constant is like the ethnic food, what people used to have earlier, the same food has the same value what used to have.
Absolutely. Chef Johnson, what do you think?
So trend, change is the only thing which is constant. So I like the word trend to start off with. So as chefs or as food entrepreneurs, we need to be constantly on the lookout for new techniques, but at the same time, to keep the soul intact, right? So that's one of the most important things. So however trendy you can get with your food, the soul has to get there.
Absolutely, and I can vouch for that, having eaten at Farmlore recently. So much of soul and grace in how you served us, so and in keeping with the trend. So absolutely, that resonates so deeply with me. Arun, what would you like to say?
Yeah, as he said, change is constant. But definitely when I talk about my restaurant, definitely the food is constant, the taste is constant. I think every restaurant has to keep their basic food taste, whatever they start with, as a constant. Because food is one thing that relates to emotions. But what change is required is we need to be open and adapt to the changes that is required for the time. And that is what we have been doing, and everyone should change as per the needs of the customers in terms of service and everything. But food has to remain constant.
Absolutely, like they say, everything changes, nothing changes, right? This brings me, of course, to all this talk of change and looking forward to new things and new trends in the food business. Brings me to the quintessential buzzword when we talk about the future, which is sustainability. And it means so many different things to each one of us, and mostly I think the word sustainability in terms of food futures is associated with the tackling of macro level problems like climate change, climate friendly diets, ecological footprint in the whole life cycle of the farm to table life cycle. I want to ask, beginning with you, Arun, and we'll come back to Chef Regi, what does the word sustainability mean to you? And not just as a restaurateur, but do you think the government, the media, how can they all sort of help, build sustainability in food futures?
All of us, I think, are responsible, and we have that responsibility to adapt to the sustainability. In terms of the food industry, the sustainable itself is a vast subject. When it comes to, as you said, the climate change, environmental change, these are very big words for a common restaurant. But for us, when it comes to the sustainability, it can start from the food waste, okay? And how we adapt and reduce the wastage of food in our industry. It can start with the kind of packaging, because the whole food concept has changed over a period of time. Food is a basic need for anyone to eat, and that too thrice a day. As the food industry has started once upon a time, it was started to fulfill the needs of to kill his hunger. But nowadays the food is what you call as a necessity, not only necessity, but it's also an entertainment. It's also a point where you connect with people, and it's a matter of social status or whatever it is. But going forward again, food can be like just you need not go to dine out and eat. It can be brought into your workplace or your tabletop. and again the packaging comes here. So sustainability in terms of packaging, sustainability in terms of food waste, these are the two major things which we need to focus. And definitely, we as a standalone restaurant or a business owner are not the only one responsible. We also look forward for the support from the government, because right now if you look at the packaging industry, we are only limited with options. We can talk of big words like biodegradable materials, those things, but are they affordable? As the present point of time, are they affordable? And is it reaching the common man? Because we definitely foresee the number of packaging industry to grow, especially with the advent of Swiggy, Zomato. So the business keeps on increasing, especially post-COVID. People have the facility or the comfort feeling of getting food at their table. So we need to innovate packaging materials and packaging concepts, for which I personally feel that government should come forward with some kind of subsidy in packaging industry, so that biodegradable materials are affordable, and finally the cost is passed down to the end customer.
Well said. There's definitely a premium associated with anything sustainable, especially in the food industry. And while there is some innovation in the food packaging business with bagas and, like you said, eco-friendly material, yeah, there is a premium associated with it. So absolutely valid point. And we recently also saw the announcement of the no food waste vehicles, which is going to be sponsored by the Airports Authority of India. So hopefully that will, help us take a step forward. Chef Johnson, what do you have to say about this concept?
Sustainability, again, that's a buzzword, right? Yeah.
Definitely.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So for me, it starts with people. It starts with people first, right? So in our industry, especially in the chef industry or the cooking industry, people work for hours. Like they don't have, all the ability to have a 5-day work week. They work for 6 days. Sometimes you don't get offs, things like that. So for me, it starts from people. The second one, everything around the industry has to get much more ethical. So in terms of power usage, I'm not saying everybody has to go that way. I'm just saying what we are doing there at Farmlore kind of works for us. So we have solar powers. So that gives us 15 kV. It's just a small operation. It generates 15 kV of electricity, which makes us to run the whole operation for a whole day. The other aspect of it is we grow our own produce. We got to this particular point only because of COVID. Not many people would thank COVID, but I actually thank COVID for that, because at that particular point, the third person was cut, and we were put in a situation, what you're going to do, what you're going to do. So we started growing a little bit of produce in our midst, and that kind of helped us to get produce into our farm. The other aspect of it is cooking. Cooking by gas, not saying it's completely bad, but then there are really great methods to go by. I went back to the age-old roots. So we cook only by wood fire, and again the wood is all the pruned woods from the mango trees from that particular farm. So in this way, it's just a very small module, but trying to tell people that we can do it in this way as well. I love cooking in wood fire. There's no gas at all in the kitchen. And to be completely honest, there's not much of packaging materials come in. It falls into the module of what we have at Farmlore. But again, it's something to ponder and something to see. There are a lot of techniques which we have just foregone because it's not really great for the, great like sous vide. Sous vide uses plastic bags. So we don't use sous vide at all. We said put sous vide out of the picture. Let's go back and see how people used to cook. So we just take bana leaf, we put sanikatta salt from Gokarna, and we cook it. So going back to the roots gave us quite a lot of ways to look sustainability for the future. So, yeah.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I've experienced and tasted this. Your food is poetry for the palate, like I said. So absolutely, I vouch for every one of those practices. And who better to, shed more light on the topic of traditional cooking than Chef Regi, who was talking to us earlier when we were sitting about how he's brought back some of the age-old traditions. So how does that tie into the concept of sustainability, chef?
So to me, sustainability is ideal use of natural resources. See, you all would have seen the WhatsApp messages where someone has gone to a restaurant and where the restaurateur told, the resources belong to the nation and you can use only what you want. You should not, how much ever rich you are, you cannot just use it because it belongs to the nation. So, if you wanted to eat, you buy what is required. Don't buy one sack full of things which is which could have used for feeding the entire nation, So that is what I feel mainly about sustainability. And second thing, this starts from our own home. I remember in my childhood, and I'm sure that's the same thing, our mothers always say, don't waste food. They say, you take only what you want. Don't take more than that. When you go to some restaurants, you can see in a buffet, people taking food on a plate as if, there is no end to it. But nowadays, I see a very interesting trend where the chefs are keeping mono-portion bowls so that they take only smaller portions. And it's if they want, they can always go back. But they don't look at that way. They just try to take as if, the food is going to get over. But this is what our mothers used to teach us. Don't waste food. If you are taking 4 chapati, first you eat 2 chapati, you finish and then take the second, third and fourth. The chapati is not going to go anywhere. And the next one is our mothers are too smart, As seen, they don't waste anything. Earlier times, in rural areas, people say even in the night at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock, you go there. When there was no refrigerator, still you get food. People don't go with the hunger in the night for sleep. That is what the concept which everywhere in the rural areas. But at the same time, they don't waste anything. They may have rice at home. What they do is in the night, they put the rice in an earthenware pot and pour water and leave it for fermentation. The very next day, you get a nutritionally rich paranganyi, which is popular in all regional Indian cuisine. Be it Bengali, be it Oriya, be it Kerala, be it Tamil. And that is supposed to be the best nutrient-rich food. I'm sure both the chefs will agree to that. And that is something which is really good for our body. Especially in a temperate climate like us, we need something which can give you that cooling effect. And they never, even if you are making a chicken dish, and if there is something balanced, you can see that is coming in the form of something else in the evening. Or morning, if you have bread as a breakfast dish, evening snack will be a bread upama. So that is how our mothers used to do the wonderful job of zero wastage. Even when they make boiled rice, the kanji, the water, the boiled water, which is full of starch, either is used for starching the clothes, or it sometimes when it gets cool, it goes as a cattle feed. Or again, the third one, it will go as a fertilizer to the kitchen garden. So for me, the sustainability which start from our own home, our own culture, our own way of understanding, this is not for me alone. This is for all of us. And concern for others which is something which makes you think about the sustainability.
Brilliantly said.
I think, as he rightly said, it has to be induced right from the childhood, grassroots level, from school days. As you said, your mom induced these ideas to you. Every home does that, but I think there should be something seriously done in the classroom sessions also in school, so that a sense of ownership is culturally developed right from a childhood.
Excellent point, and I quickly glanced at my editor in the audience. She was nodding vigorously because that was the topic of my recent column, where I wrote about grandma's way, all the wisdom that we inherited from our grandmothers and mothers, and how every step that they took in and outside the kitchen was inherently zero waste. and led to a zero waste lifestyle as well. And also, I just want to say, hopefully we'll win some brownie points from you, Chef, because Chef Johnson and I were out having coffee just now, and we asked specifically for half a cup of coffee each, so we don't end up wasting the coffee. So there you have it. A time for a small statistic. By the year 2050, India's population is expected to grow to 1.7 billion, which means we will have an additional 430 million people to feed. And the most obvious problems that we foresee are obviously food shortage, security, and safety. As restaurateurs and foodpreneurs, how do you see yourself contributing to where we're headed? The population explosion, how people are eating. There's a whole bunch of things here. When we talk about food shortage, of course, that's a different topic, but you're talking about food security. We are going to have so many more people to feed. Where do you see your respective restaurants, in the future? How do you see what you do? Will it change in some way? Will you have to adopt new techniques, or will you be doing something else, something different?
Shall I?
Please,
Okay.
Hari.
I think here restaurant owners and food entrepreneurs have to come together in sharing of knowledge. There should be some sharing of database, so that in case of food wastage is there or excess food is there, it has to be shared or divided or sent across to the needy. Something like that has started. As I just said, Airport Authorities of India has started it, and in Bangalore, our Bangalore Hotel Association is actively trying to indulge in this. So this is where I think these associations and in fact certain NGOs can come forward, where individual restaurants, as an individual restaurant owner, or they cannot do on their own, or at the most they can do it only in the nearby area where they are located. But with the use of technology or some app-based something like that, and certain NGOs can come forward and join hands with the Hotels Association. And this is where I think we can best use of the technology, we can do this. And I'll just take a minute of yours. What we have done about 3 years back, and just before the COVID, there was a system program launched along with the Bangalore Hotel Association. It was called as Sanchigondu. Okay, and the whole concept is taken from a concept in the Western area where they call it as one from the wall. Okay, I don't know, many people might know about this concept of one from the wall. A similar concept which we started along with the Bangalore Hotel Association was Sanchigondu, where people can contribute after having dining in certain restaurants who are part of this scheme. They will also take one more extra coupon, buy that coupon and leave it there. So anybody who cannot afford a meal, with dignity he can come and take that meal from that, and that is shared. So it is like restaurants will be just a bridge between an unknown donor to an unknown donee. So these concepts, unfortunately COVID came and this didn't take off well. But to give us statistics, as you are telling, we at Vidyarthi, we have been doing this. Until now, we have given 3,400 and odd meals till last month end. So it is not from our pocket, it is the fund raised through the public who have come in. So I have been strongly thinking, like some people, like the awareness has to be brought to the donee. We can bring awareness through social media about this and we'll get more donors, but that's not the point. The donee, that is the people who come and take this food with dignity, have to know about this scheme. I am thinking of like in Bangalore, in each area, at least 10 restaurants can come forward and join hands. And we come out with some kind of a logo or something and put it across outside the restaurant. And anybody, like he might be one guy who's distraught or cannot afford a meal, he can be in any area, and if he just sees that board in front of a restaurant, he can just walk in with dignity and ask for a meal and can take it and go. So there might be a misuse, but that's okay. What's the percentage? But out of dignity, I think a lot of people, if they start sharing this concept, I think what government is spending crores of money in schemes like Indira Canteen or other food schemes. Here, it can be a public movement where public can join hands with the help of some restaurants and the donee who can afford and take this. So everything can be a people's movement with no capex involved, because the restaurant already has the infrastructure to make and prepare food, and it's the unknown donors who donate the money and share, and there should be technology in place to keep track of everything, and I think we can use this. I thought in this forum I should talk about this. We have been doing this in a very small way. I think if media or someone supports, I think we can grow it in a big way.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm so glad that you brought this up, and I'm sure everyone here feels drawn to this, and we're all willing to help and pitch in any way. And if anyone in the audience is a foodpreneur, please come forward to support this initiative. And you're so right, there's such a stigma, associated with hunger and people who can't afford meals. Giving them the dignity, affording them that dignity is of prime importance. And I'm so happy that you brought this up, and I'm sure everyone has a little nugget to take away with them today. Chefs, do you have anything to add to this?
The question was zero waste. Going to culinary colleges, they actually teach you shouldn't waste anything. That's the first thing they teach you. And there's a small little backstory which I have. There's one person who went to US, who worked from Gujarat. He just calculated the amount of onions we peeled, and that saved a lot. That saved a lot for that particular company. It was a group of cruise ships, right? So if from one bag, if we peel one skin lesser, you'll be able to save quite a lot of it. So to educate the younger students in colleges and places where we tell them and speak to them about food wastage is very, very, very important. And also the practices what we have, which we have borrowed from the West, is the one to blame. I can't really point fingers. I'm not a big fan of buffet. Buffet, the system of buffet wastes a lot of food. But if you go back in our roots and take a look, our thali system is one of the best way where we can save a lot of food. So our roots has the answers. But because when we were taking all these from the outside and trying to implement it in such a way, we don't cook in seasonality these days. People have stopped cooking in seasonalities. Like you get mangoes even in month of December for some reason, and someone is actually forcing a seed to grow into a mango. So those practices has to be changed when it comes to food wastage. Years back when there was rice shortage, 100 years back when there was rice shortage, Kappa came into existence in Kerala. That's when Kappa came into the whole picture itself. By a king who introduced, there was no rice. So our tradition has the way of finding ways to control that. Just because we ventured out and bought all these things inside, we are the ones to blame, I say. So food wastage is something which we have to teach from our colleges or catering colleges, wherever we want to, from the younger pays.
Excellent points, and I will keep that in mind when I cut an onion next in my kitchen. And just as a takeaway for the audience, onion peels are great for your rose bushes and curry leaf plants. So if you have a garden, please do that. And speaking of Kappa, we have to give some time for Chef Regi to say a few words here.
Yeah. See, it's a joke that, when you ask a kid from where the milk comes, they say from the refrigerator in a packet. But how many of us knows the products what we are consuming, from where it is coming? See, me coming from an agriculture family, I know the pain and difficulty which is there for bringing this product. And most of the time, they don't come to the limelight. They don't know what they do. Probably they get a small amount of money for the product what they make, and it comes different markets, and at last it comes to the restaurant. But I think it is very important for us to educate all of us, like, how the produce is being made, and interact with these farmers and help them to come up with products which are like, pesticide free, and things that can be used in your restaurant. See, the farmers will produce when they get a confidence that, okay, their products are going to get good value, and more than that, good respect. Because usually farmers are being kept this, it is their job to produce. But it is more than that, they are the people who are making food or the raw material which we are relishing on. So I think it is very important for us to start from there and bring in this farming culture or how it is being made even into the school curriculum. And because it's not easy for somebody who is in urban area to understand how the farming is happening. But there should be some kind of field visit and all these things make them understand to make 1 kg of rice, how much land is being used. So a lot of wastages can be reduced by knowing how or what is the kind of pain which is there behind making each and every ingredient. So that is something which I feel that it is very important for the new generations to understand how it comes and where it comes.
Wonderful. Knowledge sharing. I think I can sum this round up with just that one term, which is knowledge sharing, keeping up with traditions, and really tapping into the wisdom of our ancestors to make sure that we follow ethical practices in the kitchen, and we also afford dignity to those in need. I'm going to be mindful of the time here, and I'm going to end this with a question that really ties into the discussion today, which is about the future of food in Bengaluru as we can imagine it in the year 2040. What do you think it's going to be in the year 2040? Will it be cloud kitchens ruling the roost? Will it be home chefs with their pop-ups, oven havens, home bakers, fine dining, fast food, slow food movements? I mean, I could go on giving you a plethora of examples, but I just want to understand what you think food will look like in the year 2040 in Bengaluru.
It would be quite difficult to predict how it would be, but as we look back and see, the whole culinary space has evolved itself, how it was and how it started, for what purpose it was started, to how it is right now. And going forward, definitely the convenience matters to the generation. We used to call Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. Now the Gen Alpha is there. So we definitely don't know what their thought process is. And with the use of the latest technology, artificial intelligence, the delivery systems might change. We might use robotics in the kitchen equipments. We might use drones for deliveries, which we have already, the experimentation has started. So definitely the sky is the limit for food space. Food is definitely going to be there, but conventional dining spaces also will be there, because all said and done, it's an experience people come for. And food, just as a matter of fact, as a need to fill up the stomach, there are ways and means to get it delivered. But as an experience, it has to be experienced in certain places only.
Beautifully said. Chef Johnson, what do you think?
Food is more of a feeling. So that's how I end it. So food is more of a feeling. It's the same thing, what he gives, what I give. So that's going to be constant. That is going to be constant. So I don't see how it's going to change the way it looks, but it will all taste good. So that's it.
I know we heard the bell, but I'll just give him a few seconds to tie this up.
I'm happy that the time is up.
Oh, you're happy that the time is up. Okay.
No,
Okay.
basically, I think, just to give one word. See, when you have food, usually when you take large portions of food, After 3 or 4 mouthful of food, any food, even the best food, your choice of food also, you will start disliking it. So take small portions of food, start eating it, and if you still have a hunger for it, go for it. That way you can enjoy the food much better, not now, even after 40 years and 100 years. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we can look forward to flying drones, theatrical pouring of sauces in sit-down restaurants. Someone said sky's the limit, so I'm imagining traffic up there with the drones flying around, delivering food. But either way, I think the biggest takeaway for us through this discussion today has been to be mindful and conscious and courteous and kind and graceful in matters of food, in and outside the kitchen. Thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. And thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ranjini, chefs. Arun, I just want to take a moment longer. I've heard some positively wonderful ideas from all of you out here, and considering it's about food, I'm reminded of a notorious man called George Bernard Shaw. You wouldn't have missed him. And he said something very interesting. He said that if I have an apple and you have an apple and we exchange our apples, we still have only one apple. But if I have an idea and you have an idea and we exchange ideas, then we have 2 ideas apiece. So thank you so much. Some lovely practical suggestions coming from this panel discussion. We have a lovely memento for all of you. And I'd like to call Sumit Pandey, who is our national political editor here at Deccan Herald, to join us on stage and hand over the mementos. Sumit. I'm also going to request all of you to kindly step forward and step to the edge of the stage so that we can get a group picture together with all your caricatures from Sajid. Thank you, chefs. Thanks, Ranjini. Thanks, Arun. Thank you.